Guys, can you believe it's been almost 2 full years since Sour came out? 2 years! May 21st, 2021. It feels like just yesterday I was listening to that album in the backseat of my friend's minivan going like, I don't need to tell you guys how big this album was when it came out. I probably don't even need to tell you how good of an album it is. But it's been a while since I've listened to any of these songs, so I thought it'd be fun to revisit all of them for a video. But I'm not just listening to Sour once. Alright, not even twice. But on repeat. For a week. Because as much as I love my complete discography videos, I think if you really want to digest everything that an album brings to the table, you kind of have to know it like the back of your hand. And I'm not saying that by the end of this video I'm trying to learn every lyric, productional nuance, and credit to every song on this album, but let's try to swing for like 85%. Welcome to a deep dive into Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. Olivia Isabel Rodrigo released her debut single Driver's License on January 8th, 2021. It debuted at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 and held that spot for 8 whole weeks, which isn't like crazy, like it's not Old Town Road, but still, I mean we all know how much the public loved this song, it was huge. After that she released 2 more singles, Deja Vu and Good For You, both of which debuted in the top 10, making her the first artist to ever have her first 3 singles all debut in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. At this point she's 3 for 3. 3 releases, 3 bangers, and on May 21st, 2021, Olivia released her debut album titled Sour. 11 songs and only 35 minutes long. The album itself is basically strictly pop music with like a little sprinkles of pop punk in there. Olivia wrote all the songs herself, working with her producer, Dan. And the songs are made up of mostly traditional instruments, piano, electric, and acoustic guitar, and most of the time a pretty standard sounding drum kit, but they're all put through some sort of, I guess, filter or something, and that, combined with the insane amount of vocal chops, creates something that feels reminiscent of both modern pop music and also songs from the mid to late 2000s. I did some thinking, and came to the conclusion that with the time I spend each day studying, working out, walking to and from class, waiting for my food in the dining hall, and the occasional shit, I listen to about 4 hours of music a day, give or take. So if you multiply that by 7, then that by 60 to count for minutes instead of hours, and divide that by the length of the album, I theoretically should be able to listen to it 48 times, but I guess we'll see. Alright guys, day 1, I'm about to go to the gym. You guys know every time I'm at the gym, I like to listen to as much music as I can. For dramatic effect, I have the album pulled up on my laptop, and we're just gonna show my reaction to the first song. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I've listened to this album before. So, what do we think of the sour colored hoodie? It's not actually sour themed, it's Snoopy on the back, but I mean, pretty fire, right? Let's start this off by saying this album bangs. Olivia has yet to miss. She's 11 for 11. In the past few months, as I've started making these music-related videos, it's forced me to look at, or I guess listen to music through different lenses, which I'm just not used to, which I've enjoyed obviously, because I can then appreciate more about the songs than I normally would. But now when I listen to Sour, I'm thinking more about the context, or the composition, or the vocals, whereas before I was just kind of like, man, fuck this Joshua Bassett guy. I'm kidding, I'm sure you're a lovely human being, but you didn't have to do My Girl Live Like That. My favorite song on the album is Traitor, which I'm pretty sure isn't a hot take, but it's just so good. The line, "You didn't cheat, but you're still a traitor," is so concise and, you know, gets to the point, and that's what I like in my lyricism. You know, like she's basically saying, you're not off the hook based on that technicality. But babe, I didn't even cheat. I just had feelings for another girl and got together with her right after we broke up. Yeah, you're right. You didn't cheat, but you're still a traitor, bitch. That's also why I like this song a lot more than Driver's License, because I feel like Driver's License is just much more on the nose with everything, which is part of its appeal, because I mean, it makes it feel more personal to her. But Traitor is good to me because it's so simple, which makes it more relatable, and the fucking drop after the second chorus where it's like, oh my god, oh my god. I want to take the chance to really dive into Olivia's chops as a songwriter, so we're gonna go back to a song from or High School Musical, the musical, the series. As a High School Musical fan, I did watch this when it came out. I didn't like it, but there's no beef, you know, I'm obviously not the target demographic. This song is apparently also written by Olivia Rodrigo, and the lyrics are just so much worse. And this isn't a diss, because I know it was pretty popular on TikTok at one point, but look at these lyrics, man. There's one more boy, he's from my past. We fell in love, but it couldn't last. There's just not much nuance to it. Simple rhymes, every 2 lines, and that's it. Compare that to you use me as an alibi, I cross my heart as you cross the line. Like, do I even have to say anything? All I want is love that lasts. Is all I want too much to ask? Is there something wrong with me? I'm sorry, that's just so basic. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if she wrote this shit during her lunch break. But I guess an A+ for improving. So yeah, Traitor's my favorite, but I will say, the drop into the bridge for Driver's License when it goes, red lights, stop sign. That shit goes hard! I guess I could say a piece on all the songs. I mean, there's only 11 of them. I like the intro, goated. A little bit overhyped, but still really good. Fine. Love the production and the Billy Joel part. Slapper, pretty solid. Probably her best vocals on the album. The Driving Home to You version is better, but we'll get into that later. Holy shit, I'm gonna fucking cry, and pretty good. I love how they handled the rise and fall of each of these songs. They all start off with like one sound or instrument, and then gradually expand with the peak being in like the bridge or the last chorus, and then it dissolves back into just one sound at the end. Some might call that formulaic, but I feel like that's just good structure, especially for pop music, because I hate when a song has a bad bridge, and I fucking despise when a song doesn't feel like it's building to something. Because then it's like, what am I listening for? If your first chorus is the same as the second one, or even the last one, then what's the point? Lucky for us, Olivia Rodrigo and Dan never fall into this trap. All of her bridges are actually really solid, and that rise and fall of every song definitely helps each song feel more distinct when listening to the album from start to finish, which is extremely helpful to all the people, me, with short attention spans that tend to zone out when a song gets boring. I'm sad.
I was enjoying it on my first few listens, but now I'm just like getting depressed. I'm not even like heartbroken right now, but it just makes me sad.
It feels a little bit early to get into the emotional content of this album, but it seems like Vlog Jason is down for the count, so I guess we don't have a choice. Sour is very representative of that feeling you have right after your first heartbreak. Throughout the whole song, sad songs get angrier, angry songs get sadder, and it feels like a real high school breakup. You know, when you have all these different thoughts and you're kind of all over the place, changing your mindset from happy to angry to sad every 15 minutes. That's how I personally became so attached to this album, because when I first found it, I was 17 and I had just had my heart broken for the first time, and I never felt that sinking feeling in your stomach you get. It was pretty rough. Shut the fuck up. So for those post-heartbreak feels, this album is that guy, okay? Sour is him. But I'm not heartbroken right now, so I feel like my emotional attachment to this album is just not as strong. At first, listening to it only reminded me of that time, which is why Vlog Jason was so depressed that day. But eventually, I pulled myself together and got back to work. I'm done being a little bitch. Okay, we're back at it. This is day, like, I think 4? So I listened to it basically all of today. If I had to guess right now, I've probably listened to it about 10 times, maybe? It took a couple listens for me to really realize just how versatile Olivia is as a vocalist, which I think ties into how she's able to show so much diversity throughout the album as well. Someone like Adele is a great singer, but if it's not a pop ballad or Rolling in the Deep, I really don't give a fuck. Like, could you imagine how off-putting it would be to hear Adele on Good For You? In my opinion, Olivia does all the different sounds on this album justice. Her voice is gentle and soft when it needs to be, but when she belts, it breaks into a sort of cry that just, oh god, like holy shit, bro. She could be cute and cheeky in Deja Vu, punky and fierce in stuff like Brutal or Good For You, and she could be heartfelt and vulnerable in songs like Traitor or Driver's License or Enough For You or Hope You're Okay. Basically all the songs except those ones. Kind of similar to Taylor Swift, except Olivia does it better in my opinion, just because she's a flat out better singer. Not that we're comparing.
So I'm about to watch Olivia Rodrigo Driving Home to You, a sour film.
Someone in my family watched it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Don't really know what to expect. You know, a lot of artists have documentary type things, so it should be cool.
I like how the doc incorporated the live versions of the songs. Jealousy, Jealousy in this is fucking amazing. I'm not a huge fan of the normal version, but this one? Whoa! Why wouldn't you do the original like that? The halftime shift in the chorus when it goes, I'm so sick of myself. That shit goes crazy. I also like seeing all the studio stuff just because I love seeing artists' creative processes. I think that's so cool. And I also thought it was pretty awesome how they recorded the entire album in a somewhat unassuming studio. Like, it looks like a normal room. And it was just her and Dan bouncing ideas off of each other. As a whole, the documentary also had more of an aesthetic than I'm used to for these artist documentaries. Usually they just compile clips or whatever, but this one felt like it had a vision and it was just much more film oriented, and as a pretty big movie guy, I appreciated that.
Guys, I know no one here's gonna give a fuck, but they played Driver's License twice in this, and both times they auto-tuned the traffic, we're laughing, like flat, like it's the wrong note. Like in the actual song, it's supposed to go traffic, we're laughing. But in this it goes, traffic, we're laughing. And I just thought that this video would be the only chance I would ever have to express that. So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, at this point I was kind of wondering what else I could get from listening to this album more, but I take these videos seriously, so I kept on going for the rest of the week. Good morning. Today is officially the final day of listening to Sour every day for a week. Or on repeat for a week, or whatever the fucking title is, I don't know. So in honor of that, I'm wearing my sour colored hoodie, Thrill Seeker. At this point, I've probably listened to the album like, I don't know, a bajillion, million, gazillion, quadrillion times. Is it getting old? Yeah, definitely. But at least I like it. You know, it'd be a lot worse if I was listening to like the first Taylor Swift album. But needless to say, I'm looking forward to being done with this. After having listened to this album 100 million times this past week, I started to overthink a little bit, wondering if Olivia Rodrigo is merely a representation of the artist I kind of openly dissed in my last video. See, I feel like most artists write their songs about antagonizing their ex or sulking in their heartbreak. But after thinking about my overthinking, I realized I was actually underthinking. To write this off as just another pop breakup album feels like an oversimplification. It obviously brings more to the table than that, but from a structural standpoint, it definitely does feel pretty basic. I just feel like while it is indulgent in those emotions, there's some tracks later on, like Happier or Hope You're Okay, that sort of ended on a better note than if they were to just do all sad songs. And there's something about that that doesn't feel like you're antagonizing your ex in a toxic way, but more in a way that just like, you know, you do when you're young, when it's your first heartbreak ever, and you're like genuinely hurting. If you think about it, Sour actually follows the 7 stages of grief to a T, starting with shock and traitor, pain and driver's license, and going all the way down to hope and acceptance from Hope You're Okay. Something that feels intentional, but somehow also feels like something I just pulled out of my ass. I don't know. Look guys, this album was as big as it was for a reason. Yes, because of the drama, but also because it's good. I think these songs have depth in them, to an extent, but it does kind of feel like it's just scratching the surface of what's there, trading the potential depth in for catchier hooks and better vocals, which I think works, especially for a first album for such a young artist as well. It would be kind of weird if she busted out the Folklore Evermore type writing so early on in her career, but this is definitely a good representation of her potential, you know, what she can do. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because I just did not need to listen to this the 20-something times that I did. I should have actually counted how many times I listened to the album. It's definitely like 20-something, but I'll try to do that for the next video. To me, this album and Olivia Rodrigo's career thus far serves as a representation of how the music industry has evolved. With Taylor Swift, among other artists, sort of paving the way for her, she blew up overnight because of the internet, basically. I'm not really sure if I was onto something at the end there, or if I was just going a little crazy, but regardless, I definitely have a deeper appreciation for this album after having listened to it 20 bajillion times, because every other time I listened to this album, I was focused on my emotional attachment to it, and sort of just like singing it out in the car, instead of paying attention to its physical attributes. I'm really curious to see where her career will go from here, because there's no denying that this album will be difficult to follow up. On top of that, these songs were all inspired, so it's a question of, is she able to really write music without going through another breakup? But I guess we'll have to see what happens. She made an announcement that she's working on more music right now, so maybe we'll see that soon. I mean, the turnaround time for Sour was like 5 months, so we could be seeing this by the summer. Who knows? I thought I'd end the video with my official ranking of all the songs. I'm not sure if I'll do this for all the albums that I do deep dives for, but there's only 11 tracks, and I listened to it again 20 gazillion times, so of course I have a fucking ranking. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today. Comment below your favorite song on Sour, and also whichever albums you'd like to see me do next. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be hopefully next week. I still see your face in the track. Over the noise, God, I'm so weird. I still fucking love you.